This lesson's on how to solo over If I Had You. We're going to take a look at some simple scales and chord tone approaches you can take, plus also how to get sort of the right feel with a ballad like this. If you don't know the chords though, that's where you need to start, and I covered that in my previous video, so check the description or the card above for that. And if you need a chord chart, be sure to grab the PDF at my website for free, and that's jazzguitarwithandy.com under the standard section. Now, onto the soloing. So on the screen is the chord chart, and I've highlighted the chords which are out of key. So those are the chords where you're going to have to think a little bit differently. And, you know, it's not a song which one scale would work over all of it. You know, there's obviously very few jazz songs which enable that, but there's a couple scales you could use just to get through this. And whilst I was playing just then, one simple scale I was using then for the sort of in-key chords was B flat major pentatonic, which is the same as G minor pentatonic. And you can get some nice ideas with that and still phrase, you know. Sort of like that. I'm thinking of a melody there, trying to play it, but I'm just sticking to the scale notes. I could sort of link the notes chromatically, so fill out the gaps between the scale notes. Yeah, that sort of thing. So I'm keeping very melodic, very simple ideas. That's a good place to start. But, you know, that's the pentatonic plus, you know, say for instance the scale's going, you know, the scale goes B flat, C, D, F, G, B flat, C, D, F, G, B flat. I could carry it on up, you know. Say, you know, between B flat and C you can play the note B. Or between the G and the F there's G flat. You know, you can use your ear in terms of what you like the sound of. But there I'm thinking pentatonic and then just fill the gap between the notes. So you could fill the gap between the root and the second, so like that. Between the second and third. Sorry. Between the third and fifth. Yeah, if I just try that over the first A section. So I'm going to use B flat major pentatonic, aka G minor pentatonic, and just put in some chromaticism as well. Let's try that as a start point. Now I am still, you know, I'm very aware of the chord changes, I know the progression well. I'm probably going to find that I target the notes that are within the chords that are in the scale. It doesn't contain all the chord notes obviously, but this is B flat major pentatonic with some chromatic passing notes. That sort of thing. Oh, can't stop it. So I quite like that, it's quite simple. You do kind of have to feel or hear where the chord notes are going. And that goes down to knowing your chords, knowing the notes in the chords, which if you don't know, you'll probably always come back to needing to learn that. And that would be my next thing really. You know, that the B flat major pentatonic will work well, but it doesn't contain enough. And that's because we've got a lot of those chords out of key. So what you could do is use B flat major pentatonic across all the stuff which is in key, and then go with arpeggios for the out of key stuff. So let's take the first out of key section, bar 2. So you know, you could use B flat major pentatonic for the first bar, and then go chord tones for F minor 7, B flat 7, and then we've got E flat major, which is in key, and then we've got A flat 7, which is out of key. So I'll go back to chord tones for that. Let's try that. So. So that's kind of like B flat major pentatonic, something like, and then I was thinking F minor, B flat 7, back to B flat major pentatonic, and then A flat 7. That's just descending an arpeggio, and then I can go back to B flat major pentatonic. So you can kind of think, I've got this one scale for the A section, but for the chords which are out of key, I'm going to go chord tones. And again, know your arpeggios, and you know them from different places on the neck, because we're looking for those links between the chords. So that's one way you could work on the A section, definitely. You could obviously include more scales, but you know, you don't need to complicate it. Simply finding chord tones against all of the chords is a great idea. Maybe just playing 4 notes. That's B flat. And then you can hear the progression there. Obviously that is just about finding the notes, or just finding one note across all of them, like just finding the roots, say like this, 2, 3, 4. Again, it's not going to win any awards for solo of the year, but it's important to be able to find those and hear those. If we do the same with thirds, 1. So forth. I could link those, you know, be like in different ways. You know, I could go. What I could do is go to the nearest note of the next chord, but you know, it involves a lot of fretboard knowledge and knowledge of the notes in all those chords. With the amount of chords there, that's something which might take you some time, and it's something, you know, not to beat yourself up over if you can't do it with this one. It's something to work towards long term, and that's where I like the sort of, oh, okay, I've got the pentatonic and I can just, you know, go for simple arpeggios for the chords which are out of key. So that's the A section, what I would suggest. If the playing the chord tone thing is too much on the out of key chords, then what about this? Just play major pentatonic on the in key chords. On the out of key chords, just target one note. Target the note which makes it sound interesting. And for me, let's take the first little section, the, you know, in the bar of F minor 7 to B flat 7, let's target A flat. And then when it goes to the A flat chord, let's target G flat. In both instances, that's the 7th. So we could be like, that's the out of key note. So B flat major pentatonic, A flat, so I went B, just down the scale, to A flat, sorry, G flat, which is the 7th of the A flat chord. So that would sound like this. So major pentatonic, out of key note, A flat, major pentatonic, A, G flat there against the out of key chords. So the idea there is pentatonic, and then when we hit those out of key chords, just target one note, and thirds or sevenths indicate that best. B section is a key change to D minor. Now we get that at the end of the A section where it goes E minor 7 flat 5 A7, we then hit D minor. It's a completely different feel. Now, simple here, we can just use D harmonic minor. That's the simplest approach. So over this progression, the one scale that will work all over it will be D harmonic minor. So, and again, if we've been using the major pentatonic, this would be a nice change. It is a nice change anyway, in terms of chordally and harmonically, changing temporarily to the key of D minor. But the reason I go for the D harmonic minor is it covers enough on those 3 chords without having to think of 3 scales. So we've got all the notes of a D minor chord, not a D minor 7, just a D minor chord. We've got all the notes of the E minor 7 flat 5, and we've got all the notes of the A7. We've got that C sharp, the leading tone, which is super important. And with this scale, you know, we get the tension points, which is the intervals which are a semitone. So in this instance, C sharp to D, A flat to B flat, E flat to F. And I would really go for those bits for tension, and particularly you want that C sharp when you land on the A, because it's the major third, so that would be a nice thing to target. But you know what, you know, you're still going to want to follow the chords, but you know, creating melodies. So D harmonic minor will work well. It's got the chord tones in, and you know, you can easily create nice melodies with that. And it's it's got character, got bags of character with those 3 places where there's semitone intervals. So again, you want to be able to outline the chords, so D minor, E minor 7 flat 5, A7, back to D minor, let's descend it. There's an A7. Yeah, wherever there's 2 and 5, like there, E minor 7 flat 5 to A7, you can always just ignore the 2 and play A7 instead. So like play a D minor, think D minor, then think A7, D minor, A7. If it simplifies things for you, that's one way you can do. So for the end of that B section where it goes D minor 7, C sharp diminished or D flat diminished, C minor 7, F7. First 2 bars, you know, I go chord tones personally. There, the diminish, arpeggio, and then C minor, F7. That's back from the parent key. So we could go back to our B flat major pentatonic. We could, you know, ditch the 2 and just think F. That'd be good. Nice to have a tension note there, or maybe before we land back to the B flat maybe. My final sort of tip for soloing over this is, it's a ballad and it needs feel. If you play this without it, it will just, you know, like anything, it will sound stagnant and stale and dull. So how do you imbue feeling into your playing? Well, I think a good thing to know is the lyrics, the words. This song has got fantastic words, very poetic in terms of the lyrics. So thinking of those can help you phrase, it can help you think about feel, what you're trying to capture. Trying to capture the emotion of the words. Take one line from it. I could turn the grey sky blue if I had you. So, you know, what's the sentiment behind that? It's, you know, if you had that person in your life, something, you know, could become better. Like the grey old skies of England most of the time. And one way you can do it is simply use the phrase, use the words to phrase. There's syllables, so I could turn the grey sky blue. And I'm thinking of that in my head. I'm thinking, I could turn the grey sky blue. So, I could turn... Hope you can put the words to it. Yeah, so the matching syllables to that. Much like a blues guitarist would, you know, someone like B.B. King, he would sing the thriller's gone, you know, the thriller's gone, and then he'd be like, and that is, the thriller's gone. You could put those words to my phrase there. So this is one way, and you might find yourself freeing up mentally the way you're playing. You're not thinking so much of what scale to use, what chords and stuff, but, you know, I suppose the caveat, it does work better if you know that stuff. To a level where you don't have to think about it, which is tricky. I could turn the grey sky blue if I had you, with those sort of syllables. So that was, you know, I could turn the grey skies blue if I had you. You know, it's a different melody to the song, but I'm still thinking about it. You can kind of, you know, edit the words and then end up playing different phrases, like extend them or shorten them. Think, you know, grey skies blue if I had you. So that'd be like something like this. Could be what, could be anything, but I'm thinking this. That was grey skies blue if I had you. Something like that. You know, I'm thinking of that melody, and it definitely makes me play differently when I try to think like this. It's just remembering to do it and to pair with it the interesting note choices and things like that. But I think it's quite liberating, something to try if you've not tried it before. It's something I definitely picked up from just playing lots of blues guitar, where, like I said, B.B. King or someone like that sings and then responds, you know, the idea of call and response. So yeah, something to try, but you have to get acquainted with the words, so listen to vocal versions, you know, where you can get to grips with them. I always think it's a good idea to try to learn the words to these songs, or certainly familiarise yourself with them, because when you're looking at a real book, it's just dots on a page, and it's telling you to play G or F or whatever note it might be for that melody, but it doesn't encapture the feeling behind it. You know, it's particularly, I think, with ballads. I think it's not such an issue with some sort of up-tempo swing stuff where you have less time for that sort of thinking, but I think it's critical for a ballad. So think about that, and think about how can you add feeling with your fretting hand and your right hand. So with your fretting hand, vibrato, as long as it's not too excessive, not too wide, it can make all the difference to a note, especially you want to sustain a... Just sustain a note gently so it sort of rocks nicely. You can still, you know, hammer on some pull-offs. They're not just something for rock and blues guitar. You can use them in jazzy, maybe not like that things, but you know. I don't use them excessively, but I definitely use them to add another layer of expression. Bends, semitone bends. Listen to Django's version, you'll hear a few of those. They can add quite a lot of feeling. There you go, I could turn the grey skies blue. Just with a semitone bend at the end there, can make a little bit of difference. It's not something, again, I would use all the time. Bends are often sort of frowned upon a little bit, but I think, you know, like I said, Django Reinhardt certainly used a lot of semitone bends. Maybe he would have done 2.5 step bends if the strings had allowed, who knows, but he certainly used it as a, definitely for feel really, and they stand out and they sound cool. The other thing is really in a song, the other thing to think about is this hand and the attack that you provide, you know, so whether you're going for a very soft feel, or, you know, say for that B section you might dig in a little bit more. You know, where it's a bit more intense, but then back to... and for that personally, because I've played a lot of the music of Django Reinhardt, if I dig in a little more, I tend to do the rest stroke, so my plectrum, if I play a note, it will rest against the next string, which gives a full pronounced sound. So if I was then playing in a softer way, have a listen to this, so that's not letting the plectrum rest against the string beneath it. This is letting it. Obviously, I could also just attack it harder. But I do think that rest stroke gives a fuller tone. So there's possibilities with the right hand too. Where you pick, you know, pick close to the neck for a mellow sound. It's often not thought about, but I mean, you probably don't want this too much. But you might use it just for a little change, a little break from just the same sound, you know, just to add, for a note to stand out more. So I think this is a wonderful standard. I think it's a truly breathtaking melody and lovely words. What a wonderful ballad to learn. And I have to admit, it's not one I've really come across. One of my viewers said that it was one they were looking at, and I thought, oh, I'll take a look at that. And I'd heard it before, but it never jumped out to me previously. Listen to a few versions, and then, you know, you walk around the house and find yourself humming the melody. I thought, oh, I'll make a video on this because it's a lovely ballad, and I think it's one worth having in your repertoire. Thank you for tuning in. If you've got any questions about anything I've covered today, then leave a comment below. Please consider hitting the like button, you know, subscribing for jazz guitar lessons every Wednesday and Saturday. If you'd like more information about lessons with me, then you can find that at jazzguitarwithandy.com, my website. But look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care. Bye.